I would love to one day be able to say like there's no need for this day anymore, because it's a norm, societal norm. We no longer need to remind each other to say, hey, let's give equal access, hey, let's give equal opportunities, because it is already a lived reality.
The International Women's Day is celebrated globally on March 8 to commemorate achievements of women. It is celebrated in different ways in different parts of the world. WADT is making this important day by talking about women, specifically about how to respect and honor them because they are worthy of them. You will notice something different about our podcast today. Instead of there being just two co-hosts, Hafiz and I, there are four. Joining us are two younger co-hosts, Kevin Goh and Fanny Lim. Kevin was our guest on the previous episode and he will be joining us as a co-host starting today. Although WADT is primarily a podcast on fatherhood and manhood, having a female co-host will add an additional perspective and make our conversations even more interesting. Now, an important fact about Fanny is that she is married to Kevin, and the two of them have 3 children ages 11, 9, and 7. Now, if you want to get to know Kevin and Fanny better, you will find profiles of them on our Instagram and Facebook pages. So welcome to you, Kevin and Fanny, to
Welcome,
WADT
Kevin
podcast.
and Fanny.
Thank you, Hafiz. Thank you, Parkson. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. This time with my husband. That's quite special.
Have you ever done anything together before? I mean, like, giving talks or conducting workshops?
Actually, we have done a few, I think, by now. A couple of interviews, and I think we did 2. Is it 1 or 2? Kevin's got a better memory. Maybe I'll let him answer that.
So 2 radio shows. One recently with Susan Ng on Valentine's Day, or almost there, that period. Another one last year on Mother's Day, and that's featuring a bit more on Fanny. And then 1 or 2 others in our church setting.
Okay, so you guys are not amateurs, you have some experience already. So just a brief, a little bit more about you, Fanny. I think Hafiz wanted to find out from you, what do you do in your regular day job?
Regular day job. So the role is spans several types of roles, right? So I'm wife, I'm a mom, a daughter, a sister, of course, and these are my main roles. I do have an occupation which I make a living out of. I lead a charity, a local one, called Daughters of Tomorrow, working with women from lower income families, and the job is facilitating livelihood opportunities for these women that are both accessible and sustainable, in hopes that their families, their children will have a better tomorrow. Hence the name, Daughters of Tomorrow.
Oh, that's straight from the textbook.
Almost, yeah. You
well practiced.
Yeah. After sharing for a few times, you kind of get the okay, this is the soundbite and elevator pitch. What? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm impressed. So it's really interesting that we have you as one of the co-hosts today. It's very special. It's a special day. Today is the 4th of March, but we will be showing this episode on the 8th of March, which is the International Women's Day. Apparently, it's been around for more than 100 years. From you also, why do you think we need to celebrate Women's Day?
Yeah, so it's one of those interesting things. Sometimes when we celebrate Valentine's Day and we say, actually, every day should be Valentine's Day lah, or Mother's Day. Actually, every day we should honor Mother, or even Father's Day, So a lot of things, I think it's just nice to have little reminders, to build the society that we want to build. So for Women's Day, it's more like, so this year's theme is called Break the Bias. So they even have like a hand motion, this is like Break the Bias. So I guess there are still some way to go for us to address some of these gaps or barriers or biases, even amongst ourselves. Sometimes we might have unconscious biases, certain things that are passed down from generations before, and that we want to create this more equitable and society, that's more just loving, or merciful and compassionate, that kind of thing. So why have the day? Why still celebrate it? I would love to one day be able to say, like, there's no need for this day anymore, because it's a norm, societal norm. We no longer need to remind each other to say, hey, let's give equal access. Hey, let's give equal opportunities, because it is already a lived reality. So that will be the dream. But for now, I think we are still working towards it. And so, yeah, thank you for highlighting this event, and also, having this as your theme for today's podcast as well.
So anything special you do on Women's Day? Maybe Kevin, do you do anything special for Fanny?
Do I do anything special for her on Women's Day? No, because she knows every day is special.
Wow,
No,
wow, that's the best
actually he does.
answer.
No. He does very special things. Like, he really holds the fort at home. The days that, because during this month, it is very busy for women's organization like ours. So like tomorrow I'm working. So I think I've got back to back 4 Saturdays. And so his way of enabling me and empowering me is really to give me that peace of mind to know that the kids are looked after well, and that he's okay taking care of the children. He's not whining or complaining, or he's not resentful about it. So he really allows me that peace of mind to go and do what I need to do, which I'm very grateful for. So that is very special, very practical, very needed, and very special.
So Hafiz,
Yeah.
maybe in some ways, the special thing I do for her is to let her be special.
Steady.
Wow.
Okay. No. In fact, I think this is very genuine, because just before this recording, all right, Fanny come on board first. Next, where's Kevin? Oh, Kevin is cleaning up some spilled juice that the kids happen to spill the glass and so on. So really, Kevin, ideal husband.
Well, she was
Yeah,
also
yeah.
cleaning, but both of us were cleaning also lah. Yeah lah, she never take credit lah, but she was also mopping there. Yeah. We work together lah. We work together to make each other special lah. Highlight each other, Yeah.
Yeah, I also
All
noticed
right.
that you use the word equitable. I mean, I think it's a very much debatable word between equality and equitable. And I think in this issue of women, a lot of such terms are being used. So what's the difference, and how do you tell that for us to respect and honor women? How does this word play about?
Equality is a tricky word, in the sense that I think men and women are different. So we can't really say that we want everybody to be equal. That's almost like communist already, to be honest. So equitable is almost like what we consider a more just way of treating people. So for example, I've seen this graphic somewhere before, and I thought it was very well put together. That if you have a fence, so there are three people of differing heights, and so there's this fence which is on this level. For the shortest person, you probably need maybe to stack 2 crate boxes for the person to see what is over the fence. For someone that's middle height, maybe they just need 1 crate. And then of course for the person who's tall, maybe they don't even need any assistance to look over the fence to be able to see what's going on the other side. So in that sense, equitable is almost like that is more a just system. It doesn't have to be all fair, because like I said, all of us have different starting points. Different people have different access to resources as well. Therefore, it is not to say that if I give you $100, my next door neighbor also need 100 to thrive. Actually, maybe I only need $1, somebody need $1,000. So that's where equity to me is about, that you create that what is a more just system. Yeah, I hope that explains it. I'm no English literature major, I must say. So somebody might just come out to your podcast and say, hey, this lady, she's got it out of whack. But this is my understanding so far. I'm open to, learning and relearning. Who knows, man? Maybe somebody 10 years down the line might create a new word, a new buzzword, and say, hey, that's probably more fair than what it used to be.
Well, let's begin by talking about, we're focusing on this word called respect or honor. I think in a way they are synonymous, but I guess to different degrees. Honor may be a stronger word, and respect is a more general word that is used. So before we talk about how we should be respecting or honoring women, maybe we start with the negative about what are the ways that women would feel disrespected by men, right? What kind of qualities of men or actions by men would make women feel disrespected?
Kevin, want to share? Have you shown disrespect in any way?
Well, I was just thinking about it. Just about this reflecting thing. I thought, right. I thought opening the door for a lady, or holding the door, for example, is being gentlemanly. But I was told before that that why are you doing that? Are you seeing that I'm a weaker species? I'm lesser than you. That I cannot open door myself. They kind of thing, like, huh? No way. I'm trying to be gentleman to open door for you. But this person felt that I was portraying that she's weaker. They're like, huh? No way. Yeah. So very funny. So I was very puzzled by that comment. Like, oh, opening door, so people will feel disrespected. Okay, like, so times have changed lah, I guess, about this whole gentleman thing. And then the women actually say, I don't need to open door. I can open door myself. I can hold the things on my own. Yeah, I can do it myself. That kind of thing. So yeah, a bit interesting lah in that aspect. I reckon.
For me, very practical lah. For me, I think most of us grew up in environment, maybe traditional environment. Our parents, tell us this is the role of man, this is the role of women. And men is to go to work. Women is stay at home. So I think we have to understand that today's world has changed. And for me, my own experience with my wife, for example, it's always that it seems women always need to accommodate, to this life, arrangements. Okay, so for me, I think it's time for men to accommodate as well. For example, if it's matter of you think that your work is more important, all right, even if your wife is not working, or even if she's working, she has a profession, we need to accommodate. For example, in child caring, not childbearing. I don't think we can accommodate to that. Child caring. In being there, being involved, even in parenting, housework. I think this is to me accommodating to women. Because for a long time they have been accommodating to us men. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, a very practical. I love the pragmatism, and yet it really is something that I wholeheartedly agree with Hafiz. Yeah, the gender roles, that used to be more defined in terms of women should be doing this, men should be doing this. I think nowadays, like you said, it is a different society in the sense that so my mom was one of those that because she was a girl, she did not get an education. So her parents thought that girls don't need to study, and then send the boys to study instead. And so with that kind of demographic, then you can understand, okay, then the men go out to work now because they're more educated. But because currently in Singapore's population, the number of women graduating from universities are very high. In fact, I think we are on par, if not slightly more. But yeah, still there are certain lenses that are being applied, societal expectations. Even if you go among your relatives and you take a poll, you probably find that some people are still stuck in that kind of worldview that women should be the ones staying home, and then the men should be the breadwinner. So thank you for that, Hafiz.
I was just reading a book, and the book has a very interesting title that says "Loving Men and Respecting Women." So this person is basically looking at history and observing that throughout history, men generally has been respected because we are the ones that do a lot of good stuff, great stuff, admirable stuff, like fighting in wars, sacrificing ourselves to save people, doing a lot of good deeds. Women, namely mothers, are loved by their children because they are very nurturing. They are the ones who supply food. Yes, it's the fathers who make the income, but the mothers who prepare the food and put it on the table. And so children remember that, right? And so children form that association about the provision with the mothers. So what he's also observing is that today, at this point of history, it seems to be women are now trying to earn respect, by maybe joining the workforce and, through their accomplishments and earning the respect. And men, on the other hand, are trying to earn love. So I thought that was a very interesting observation and historical background to that. And maybe that's where we are heading, that women are working for respect. Hey, I'm equal, all right? So please respect me as much as you do respect the men, right? And the men are crying out, love me in the same way that you love women and love mothers, okay? Because we are the ones who have sacrificed leaving the home to work, to bring and to provide for the family, and sacrificing our time with the family.
Yeah, I think in this world there's a lot of. Fanny was saying about this year's theme for Women's Day, International Women's Day is no bias, is it?
Break the bias.
Break the bias. All right. So the word bias, the word discrimination, and so on is very common, not only in terms of gender relations, but also racial relations, as well as other relationship. Okay, and I think it is due to the factor of identity, right? Who do we identify ourselves with? Who am I? Who are we? So for me, sometimes we differentiate each other too much, that we forgot that all of us are human, all of us have concerns, all of us has worries, all of us are not the same. At the same time, we when we differ, we have problems, and we have things that we enjoy in life. And I think one of the things I want to highlight also about respecting women, right, especially for men. Men are known to be more competitive than women, it seems. I'm sure that's not right, because I've seen very, very competitive women. But for example, in terms of life goals, right? So if, let's say, as men, we want to be seen as successful as in our whatever we do, be it employment, be it our things the cause that we work for. I think women has also the same thing. All right, women also have the same dream, have the ability to achieve self-actualization. The needs are the same, and I think we need to give that opportunity, to women to pursue what they love and what they the best that they can be, like any man. So the problem is, it seems so nice and dandy, right? But the reality is not so, because again of how our perception of what is the role of a man, what is the role of women, and the way we are brought up. So we need to sometimes check again our attitudes, and what the attitude is based on. Probably what is based on is something good, only that we misinterpret, and we need to unlearn many of those things.
Yeah, I think it's almost it's quite interesting when Parkson shared about respect and love, and I think one of the reasons could be that society tends to respect those who, the success matrix, right? Like people think that, because you own wealth, you own assets, therefore you're successful, and therefore I regard you highly, or hold you in high esteem because, I respect you. But then I think this is where, the caregivers who are usually mothers, a good percentage of them, because they're staying home, they are not income earners. And so with that, then there's lacking in that recognition of their contribution simply because they're not remunerated. And then the CPF also goes dwindling. So these are very practical realities. I remember being a stay-home mom for 6 years, where Kevin was working and then I was home with the kids. And I actually joke with him nowadays because I think Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong in one of his speeches was talking about, or was it one of the ministers? He was talking about, maybe husbands should consider sharing their CPF or something to their wives. Then I remember tagging him in the article and saying, hey, okay, time to calculate those 6 years, you got to pay me back for those years. Right? Was it Lee Hsien Loong or somebody? Yeah.
Yeah, I think in Singapore, I mean, we are fortunate in many ways that the government sometimes manage things for us. I think sometimes too much, it sometimes we feel stifled. But at the same time, I think when you talk about, I mean, I'm sure you're joking, but I think the attitude,
Oh
of
no, I'm not joking, Hafiz. I'm
joking.
still waiting. I need to invoice coming soon. Just
Okay,
a
Kevin,
minute.
you know what to do after this. Take out your calculator. So my point is this. I mean that itself, right? We cannot wait for for legislation, for things to for people to tell us, albeit the government, how do we manage our finances for our loved ones, all right? Be it our children, be it our wife, who has done so much, beyond us, that we cannot do things with, I mean, cannot achieve things without her. So again, you think you go to work and everything at home, you know is taken care by a robot or taken care by itself, even if you are working and your wife is not working. And again, if you have a wife who is working, then the expectation of a wife or the mother, is always 24 hours, non-stop, while a man, 9 to 5, after that can sit down and watch soccer, and whenever you ask to do some work, you tell, you say that, no, I'm very tired, uh, men or women don't feel tired.
I don't know. I don't see all those things as related to respect. Maybe a little bit, but I think it's there's a recent study that was done in America about the division of labor, housework, between husband and wife, and what they found is that yes, there is a pretty good, good balance of division of labor, except it is the type of labor. Okay, men do things. They do help out in the house, but their preference and the thing they kind of gravitate towards and they are good at a certain kind of task. Okay, and so we cannot say that just because the men don't do the things that women used to do, then we are either there's still this gender stereotypes of things like that. So I think every couple needs to work out for themselves what is a good equation and how it will work best for them, right? Yeah. So, but talking about again going back to respect, I think one of the things I hope to touch on is how do we teach our sons to respect women?
When we're talking about all the roles and the duties that the men and the women, the husband and wife do at home, and we try to equate that with respect, I think at the end of the day, when we talk about respect, like Pastor was saying, I think we cannot classify or determine it by the roles or the things that we do at home. The respect comes from recognizing that the other person, whether the husband or the wife, is a person. And so we respect the person because we're respecting a person, not because I respect them because of the roles that they do. Because when the role is taken away, for example, may not even be a choice that means the whichever partner or whichever person choose to either just sit on the couch and rest, the mother can come back and tired also and sit on the couch, or the husband can do that. But if for illness, for example, let's say the mother because of illness cannot do the housework anymore, then are you going to lose respect for the mother? No, but because you still respect her because she's the woman, she's your wife, she's your mother, that kind of thing. So it's the personhood that we are respecting, and not the role or the duty. I think that we got to get that clear first before we talk about whatever you're saying in Pakistan, about the how can we teach the next generation. I think is recognizing that we're respecting people, a person.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So, a person who has the view that all human beings have equal value and are worthy of respect and dignity and all that, they would treat everyone, regardless of gender, social, economic status, or anything, equally. That means whether you're talking to a barber or you're talking to the president, you will talk the same way, right? Because it doesn't mean that the president is more worthy of honor and respect than a barber, right? So, but for some people, they have a very warped concept of that. Okay, so they would talk to different people in a different way. Right, for someone who is more lowly, he will speak maybe in a very condescending way, and to someone who is high up in the social ladder, he would be very respectful, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so I think it's based on the values of the person's mindset, and things like that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
how do
but
we
to be
raise a
honest,
generation? Go ahead.
yeah, but to be honest, I think all of us are guilty. I mean, for me, lah, okay, maybe I don't speak for all of us, but I think personally, I'm guilty. When I think about what you are saying, that while it is true that respect should be a value that we hold, regardless of this person that we are facing. Not so much. You've heard the saying like, oh, you need to earn my respect, but actually, regardless of whether that person has earned our respect or not, when you give respect, it is who you are as a person. It reflects yourself, your own value
Mm.
system, that you respect this person as an individual, as a human being, and etc., regardless of the roles. This is very true and ideal state. Unfortunately, I think, like I said, personally, I will find that, if we hold an event, I've got a guest of honor, the protocols I go through versus, somebody, a man on the street or a woman on the street coming into the event. I treat, they are differing treatment sometimes, and I think it's one of those human nature thing that we've got to battle within ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
But
question is, who created those protocols? You see, and and it's kind of you're setting a precedent, and it becomes a slippery slope. And so people think that, oh, okay, so it's good thing, it's a right thing to treat different people differently, and things like that. So I'm just challenging the status quo right now.
So going back to your question, how do we
raise the next
educate?
generation.
Yeah, raise generation, right? So I think first thing starts from home. I mean, as men, we need to show the good example. All right, nobody's perfect, but I think we need to be conscious. Whenever that we speak to our wife as well as our daughters, we don't come up with words like, "No, that's a man's job." That's a woman's job. Or for that matter, have this perception or teach the perception that the girl is weaker, not physically, but in the sense that it will not encourage her to achieve what she can achieve best in her life. So again, I think it starts from home. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. I was going to write on what Fanny was saying about the giving of respect, and whether this person deserves my respect. Some people say you need to earn my respect, kind of thing, right? Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, respecting somebody is not dependent on that person, but it's actually it has to start from us. We have to choose to want to respect that person because that person is a person, not because this person did something wrong or this person is so great that's why I respect this person. But I choose to respect, so because the respect is actually comes from us and dependent on us and not dependent on who we're respecting.
And then coming back to Hafiz's point about raising children, it does start from home. I remember my son saying something to my daughter. Can't remember exactly what it is, but he was saying something like, along the lines like, "Hey, you're a girl, you shouldn't do this." I immediately picked it up and I said, "No, it's regardless of whether you're a girl or boy, you shouldn't be doing this. Having a certain attitude, whether good or bad, should not have differing standards just because you're a girl and you're a boy." But you actually, if you observe, it's quite common. Like, girls shouldn't be speaking so loudly, should be sitting properly. Does that mean boys can be shouting and then also sitting anyhow? It's a very interesting. I just because I work in a women's organization, I'm very I think attuned. While I wouldn't go as far to say that there's a war against women, but I do think that some of these traditional way of life has been passed down, and if we are not careful, actually we might be perpetuating it as well. Sometimes, I myself also sometimes will be like, oh, maybe it's not so ladylike. It's like, okay, you hardly say like, that's not very guy-like, or that's not very, I don't know, boy-like, or stuff like. It's usually, hey, that's not ladylike, yeah. So it's certain things is actually all subconscious layer already. Yeah.
So while we talk about things start from home, but today I think everyone has this tool, as well as access to information. So does our children, So do our children. So again, media is something that we need to be careful about whenever our children are exposed to it. I mean, one example, I've spoken this before. There's one time my daughter was watching a Netflix movie. I mean, it's a series, So when I said, why are you watching this? Actually, the title is N with an E. So it's, in fact, I said, no, I got it from TikTok. So I sat down with her and watched the whole series with her. And lo and behold, I was thankful I did it, because a lot of values are being shared, in that movie, all right, such that I think she will have her own interpretation of things. Not only that, then I would not know what her thoughts are. So as we go along watching that, I was asking her a lot of questions, but at the same time, I was trying to educate her along the way, of what I think about some of the ideas being put forth, because there was like so many ideas about I mean, American history, or basically the whole American history was put into that whole series. So a lot of things to talk about to her being 15-year-old at the time. Yeah.
I think another thing that parents can do, particularly fathers, can do for their sons, there's this general idea that every child, especially boys, they need a hero, right? They want to model themselves after someone else. So of course, that's why America came up with all these superheroes. And besides all these superheroes, there are other kinds of heroes, right? Someone who sacrificed themselves in battle or whatever. Or landed on the moon. So a lot of these heroes happen to be all male, right? So that's not wrong in itself. But to balance it out, I guess the other thing that can be put forth to the child, and letting the child also know that there are also women heroes. And I think that's the direction the world is going, because I've become more aware of movies that are made recently about women. All right, that one, for example, the three women who were part of the NASA team, that were so good in their mathematics, and there was a day the days before the computers, all right, and so they had to do complex mathematical calculations on paper with pen and paper and calculators, right? And then recent one I watched was Harriet, about this black woman who was instrumental in freeing a lot of slaves from the South and things like that. So I think it's going in the right direction. I think we just need to bring it to the boys, so that they also get to read such stories and biographies, and so that it registers in their minds that women are also capable of achieving great things, and many have, and they can be also heroes, not just to women, not just to girls, but also even to boys.
Yeah, I love it. The media influence is definitely an important one, especially when children go into teenage years. In the formative years, when they're younger, I think the role modeling aspect is very important. While the parents can teach, but what the fathers model after to their children is actually, I will say, very critical and very crucial. The fact that I respect Kevin and Kevin respects me, it speaks a lot to our children. And I will remember to pause and remind my sons. I said, look at how your father loves me, and look at how much he loves me. He looks out for me, and he does this for me. And so I make sure to know that I appreciate my husband in front of my children. And he, in turn, also is somewhat a PR specialist for me. He speaks well of me, even though I work, sometimes till nights. I work on weekends for events. And so he actually, speaks well of me and tries to remind them about me as well, that I love them and all of that. Yeah, so that's very important. The role modeling of respect, not just teaching the children, but also how we relate to one another as spouses.
Yeah, I mean, I echo that. Thanks for the affirmation there. But I also hear of some negative role modeling, actually. Yeah, of how there are some fathers, the way they treat their wives, or the way they talk to their wives. So when these are mutual friends, and then they go to their homes, right, and just have dinner, then they observe how the husband is interacting with the wife. They are actually appalled, and then they're wondering, oh no, the kids are actually observing this behavior, the way he talks to his wife, that way. Yeah, so I think these are things that we can start from home, I guess, on the way we talk to our wives, the way we talk to females in that sense, that they are equal in value as persons, and how we relate to them. Yeah, just a minor correction. The show is called Hidden Figures. That NASA show. It's called Hidden Figures. Yeah, but I think when we talk about elevating the women a little bit, because like the society seems to be at war with women, maybe, right, and then discriminating them, and then treating them like an asset, and like they just use the women, use the women, and leave them at home, or use their bodies and then dump them, kind of thing. The way they treat women like that, so loosely. But we also must be careful not to elevate them above the men, because then there'll be a problem there again, another problem. Because the thing is to put side by side, right? It's side by side. It's not one better than the other.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to so-called end this podcast. I mean, it's not about men versus women. It's about women and men coming together. Women and men. Sometimes it's men, women, him and her. Her and him. So all this sometimes it can be a bit tricky. And just to remind all of you that Captain America also has Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is a lady, and apparently Captain Marvel is stronger physically than Captain America. Maybe it came out with the American, history and so on. But again, this we need to understand that all this media does play a part in teaching us and our children all this conception, perception, understanding. Yeah.
Okay, that was a good discussion. Thank you all. So once again, let's wrap up by congratulating, or is that the right word? Congratulating all women. Happy International Women's Day. Did I say it right?
Celebrating.
And it's a day to celebrate. It's a day to celebrate for all women and men, actually. Because I think, like what we recognize, that for society to grow stronger together, it's not about elevating one gender above the other. It's really about recognizing the potential in each person, the value as well, and how we can support, sponsor, enable, empower. Just know that it's not about what if my wife or my husband gets ahead of me? It's not a competition. There's no it's almost like this pandemic season. It's like everybody should get ahead. Nobody should be left behind, kind of thing. Everybody have that innate potential to grow. I mean, when we were first in our mother's womb, there's nothing. It's just a DNA is in us to grow and develop. I'm pregnant for 3 times. We've got 3 kids, right? There's nothing I can, once the seed is inside, it just keeps growing on its own. Similarly, I think when we've come out, we are all adults right now, we are still growing. And so it's how can we help and enable each other to grow? And because we will become better for it.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us. Yeah. And how can we not respect and honor women? And all of us come from a woman.
Yeah.
All of us are mothers, right? Who are you don't have mother?
Yeah.
So I think
Hafiz, you know what you said, huh? You know what you say is actually what my mother used to tell me about domestic workers. The foreign laborers, the domestic workers. She'll always say, we must always treat people well, Everybody also got a mother one, So she always tells me this in Cantonese, she speaks to me in dialect. But yeah, it is a very true statement. All of us come from a mother, so we are all worthy of respect simply because we are humans.
That's the baseline.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is the WADT podcast, and thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, follow, or subscribe so that you will not miss any episodes. Share the link to this episode with someone you think that will benefit from it. We want to know what you think of this episode too. Please feel free to share your comments on one of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also email wearethatstew@gmail.com if you have a question or need help. Till next time, this is Hafiz and Paksan signing off.